Okay, welcome to week 14. And in week 14, we are going to be working on project 4. And I went to the weekly agendas for 14 and I got the project 4 instructions from there. And what it shows you is you've decided to purchase a computer. And we're going to purchase a laptop and we're going to buy it and we're going to finance it. And we need to find out what the financing is actually going to cost us. So we are going to look for a computer on the internet. Don't look for the cheapest computer you can find because we want to be able to work with this. This should be one that would last you for several years. It should have be able to run Office 2013. And then you're going to fill out this specifications document that you're going to download. So this is a file you can download and you're going to fill it out. So I have one that I filled out for a computer. This is a laptop where I found it. Notice that a lot of the things, sorry about that, my computer still pops up its keyboard. The screen size, notice that very specific about some of the things, but there are 3 things: networking, Bluetooth, and built-in webcam, which are really just yes or no answers. So the networking is you're looking for Ethernet. Does it have an Ethernet port? If not, it doesn't have that wired networking. It just uses wireless. Wireless, what specification? It's the 802.11, but it'll say usually B plus G plus N, which means it'll run any of those, or it might just say N, so you need to put that in. So this is just an example that you can use. And then you're going to go to Excel and you're going to start with a brand new worksheet. This is not one you open, so don't look for it. You're going to build this from scratch. And I put in my information and did some calculations on that. So notice I put my cost of computer in here because I'm going to be referring to that in several of the formulas. And then the option, the term, the years comes from the chart. And then the monthly payment is calculated. This is the payment function that you do. And remember, in the payment function, you put in first the interest rate. Remember, the interest rate we have is the APR, is for the year. We want it per month. So we did a calculation to make that a monthly interest rate. The number of periods, I have the term here. You're going to use that in the formula, that cell. But remember, you're going to make 12 payments a year. So you have to alter that for that. I do not want to see 12, 24, and 36 as the number of periods. You're going to calculate that so that if you change the years, maybe you find a different loan or they tell you something different, you can just change that number in the worksheet and have it recalculate. When you put in the price of the computer, remember that's probably going to have to be a fixed cell reference or an absolute cell reference. Also, remember, it's a negative to you. You owe that money, so don't forget to put the minus sign in front of that cell reference so that you end up with a positive payment. If you don't, you're going to end up with a negative payment amount. Then I figured out the total cost. The total cost is simply I made payments of $86.99 for a year. What did that amount to? So what's the total that I paid for that year? So simple math problem multiplication. And then the total interest paid, that's just the difference between what I paid through the period of time and what the computer actually cost me. The rest is interest that went to pay the bank for borrowing their money. When you get that done, you're going to go to the amortization. Now, I did not do this because this is going to be a little bit different. And what I'm going to start with is I'm going to put in the number 1 and the number 2 because I have to type up through 24. I'm going to show you a shortcut using the fill handle. I had to type the first 2, the 1 and 2. Then I can select them. And it's important that I do it this way because it needs to know how I want to sequence its numbers. If I just typed in 1 and used the fill handle, I would get 1 everywhere. But by typing 1 and 2 and selecting those, it'll continue that sequence. Now what I'm going to do is grab the fill handle and I have to drag it down. And you can kind of see there's a little number that's appearing. I have to do that again. And that's telling me where I'm going to end up. So I want to end up at 24. So when I see that 24, I'm going to let go, and that fills that in for me without me having to type that. Okay, beginning balance. This is at the beginning of this month. What do I owe? So for the first month, the way that we're going to do this is I have to go pull that amount from the first worksheet. So if I hit the equal sign and then I just click on loan options, notice that it's building a formula for me that refers back to this sheet, and then I can do the cost of the computer and hit the F4 function key to make that fixed, and that will pull that in from the other worksheet. The other option I would have is, since I'm using that from this worksheet and I'll be using this APR, I could also name those and just use the name in my formula. So for the first month, the beginning balance is what I'm paying for the computer. The payment amount also is something I need to pull from the other sheet. So you can name it, or I can come over here to my payment amount, click on it, hit F4, and just build the formula by pointing, and it puts the sheet name and everything I need in for me. And that just pulls that over. Now I did make that fixed because the payment amount is going to be the same for every month. Okay, now I need to know what I paid to the bank, which is my interest paid. That's what I'm paying them just to use their money. And the principal. The principal is the amount of the payment that actually goes to pay off my loan. So I'm going to start with the interest rate. The interest rate is just going to be, we're going to take the beginning balance. So it's always the beginning balance for that month times. And then I'm going to go back here to my loan options sheet. And again, I could name that interest rate, but I'm just going to click on it, that APR for option B, which we chose. I'm going to put the dollar signs in that. And then I need to divide that by 12 because, again, this is for the month. So $7.50 to borrow that money. So then the principal paid is just going to be the difference between what I paid and what I paid in interest. So very simple. And then my ending balance is just going to be, you're going to take your beginning balance and subtract not the payment, but the principal. Because the whole payment, again, doesn't come off your loan because the bank's taking some money out for themselves. Now, the ending balance for the rest of the month is going to be different. For that, or beginning balance, you're just going to take the ending balance from the previous month, and that will become your beginning balance. So when you copy this, and I'm just going to copy that one by itself, don't panic if it's zeros because we haven't finished we haven't finished copying everything. But what you should end up with at the very end is 0, and that tells you that everything worked. Because at the very end, you should owe the bank nothing. Now, I have a little bit of a negative sign. The reason is it's probably not exactly 0 because it will never end up exactly 0. So mine might have ended up negative. If you have like 1 cent or 2 cents, that's okay because sometimes we have a rounding error because it's going to be difficult to get the exact amount that would pay that off. But you should end up within a couple of cents of 0. And that will tell you you're done. Then you're going to create a couple of charts. One is going to be the different loan options and what the payments are going to be. So all you're going to have are your years and your monthly payment. And then you're going to create a chart, and this is going to go on a sheet by itself. So that's when you're going to do the move chart and put it on a new sheet. On the amortization, you're just going to be charting the principal that you're paying each month and the interest. So you're going to need the payment number, and then you're going to need to select the principal and the interest paid. And what you're seeing is as over time, the interest you're paying is going down, the amount going to the principal is going up. Okay, once you get your chart created and moved, then we need to put this on our specifications sheet. So you're going to need to copy that, but I want to show you the special way that you're going to put that on. So I'm going to pull up my specification sheet, and I'm going to come down here to the financing chart. I want this linked to my worksheet so that if I change my options or I change my mind, this chart will always be correct. So instead of just pasting it in, you are going to go to the paste special link and tell it that you want to paste link it as a Microsoft Excel chart object. And it might come in really big. When it does this, for some reason, it comes in really big. That's the case. We're just going to click on this chart. Actually, I'm going to right click on it. So I'm going to right click on my chart, and I'm going to click over here on this little arrow. But what I want to find is this format object, and I'm just going to go to the size and change the size. And you'll notice the width is like 9.61. I'm just going to go in and change that to about 6 or 7, and it'll change the other one. And then what I get is a chart that fits on the page. And that happens sometimes if you do the paste link. But the nice thing about this is if I change something, it will automatically change the chart and it will update that for me. The last thing I want to do is come below the chart. So I'm going to come below the chart. I'm going to hit enter a couple of times. And I want to put a link to the ad where I got that computer. So what you'll do is you'll go out to the internet, find that link, copy the web address. So just click in the web address and do a copy. And I don't have that link up. So hold on just a second. So here's my link, or the page, and it happened to go on sale this week. So don't worry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click in my address, and actually I can right click it and choose to copy it. Now when I want to put this in a hyperlink, which will give you a link in a document that goes back to another page, another document, or something on the internet, I can just go to my insert and there is a hyperlink. And there are different ways that I can do this. So I have two fields, text to display and address. So in the address, I am just going to come here and I just want to paste in what I just copied. So I'm just going to choose paste, and that'll put that in. Now, if I don't want that to display in my document, because that's going to be really, a long link, I can come up here to text to display, and I'm going to say, something like see the ad. And I can put what I want in there. Whoops. And click OK. And what it does is you can see my link that it put here. So when I click on that link or control click on the link, what that'll do is that'll take me back to the ad. So that's how you put in a hyperlink. So when you finish this project, one of the things that you may want to look at is in the week 14 module, there is a picture of what that looked like. So you can go back and see what it looked like. So a computer specifications example and the computer loan example. So you can see both of those. When you're done, you'll zip that folder or compress it. And remember, you can do that completely through Windows. You do not need to have any zip utility or anything like that, and send that to me. So I will get back then with you for next week. So have a good week.